Hi everybody, welcome to the dungeon. My name is Robin and today is Lampworking 101.96. Historically, the Italians came up with the most amazing ways to add decoration through bitwork on their glass. And today I'm going to bring you one of those techniques. I call it Pizzico. It is Italian for the word pinch. That's what we're going to do today. Pinch some glass into some really beautiful patterns. All you need for this technique is a pair of tweezers and you're good to go. Without further ado, let's get right into it. I hope you're all doing safe and well out there. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time in the dungeon. Okay, I'm going to start this piece out by making some cane. And of course, as always, the cane that you make can be whatever your heart's desire. It can be anything that you have laying around, or you can come up with something new. But as long as you have some cane or thick stringer to work with, you'll be fine. And on this one, I'm just going to get some white glass hot and roll it out slightly and start to add some different colors on top here. I thought that, I don't know, I feel like I was influenced by cotton candy for some reason. It's always candy for me, you guys. So I'm going to start out with a dark violet, and next to that I will add a aqua blue, a dark aqua blue. And next to that one, I will add the gold ruby, which is just, this is a great combination, and really it just, you know, I don't know why, it just always reminds me of candy. So once you have all these colors on here, I just like to go ahead and kind of pull in that back end a little bit, and then go ahead and start to heat everything up and roll it in my marble mold to get a nice shape ready to pull out. So I'll go ahead and add my first punty right in the center of the bottom, and that will allow me to take the white mandrel or the white glass off, and then here I will take this little bit off the end so everything comes together nice and evenly. It's always good to do this. You really never take too much off, just enough to where the whole, all the color is nice and even all the way up and down your cane. All right, so I'll punty up on the other side, and we will go ahead and pull this out into a nice thick cane. If it's thin, it will still work fine. It doesn't necessarily have to be thick. It just really depends on what you're looking for. And if you don't know what you're looking for, then just pull out some glass and use it. Sometimes, yeah, if you just use what you have laying around, will work out fine too if you're just trying to test out this technique. But I just love the way that these colors worked out on this cane. Every time you lay it down, a different color will appear. So it's really nice to be able to use this. Okay, let's go ahead and get right into this bead. I thought a really bright base color would look cool. So I'm using orange, and this is a color that I don't think I've ever used on a base bead in this series before, but it really looks nice. And I'm going to go ahead and just lay down some glass on my mandrel. I am looking for a really nice long bead. Of course, your bead can be any shape, any size that you desire. So I'm just going to finish up here by rolling this out and get a nice smooth surface. I'm going to go ahead and add a whole nother layer of color on top. And that'll be about it. I don't want the bead to be humongous, but I want it to be large enough so that when I lay my cane down, I have enough room to lay it down in 8 stripes. All right. So just finishing up here, I'm just heating things up. Sometimes the cane wants to pop and break, and just do your best to push it back into the bead and finish what you're doing. The heat will take care of everything else and smooth it all out. And yeah, I'm just going to get into a nice kind of a long bicone shape, but not so crisp in the center. Okay, now we're going to start to add our stripes. So anytime I am adding cane like this to a bead, I will always try to preheat the area that I'm adding the cane to. And it just makes that cane stick a little bit easier to your base bead. And I will add 4 different stripes, trying to get them very evenly spaced apart. And at the end, I always like to pull those little bits of glass close to the mandrel so everything very evenly goes into each end. Okay, so in between each one of those stripes, I'm going to add another stripe of cane. And don't forget to turn your cane a little bit every now and then if you're making a tricolor cane, so you get a different color every time you're laying it down. And then we'll go ahead and pull those ends in a little bit more before we continue. Now the tweezers that I'm going to use, I got from France Art Glass, and I wish I had gotten this pair of tweezers much earlier in my flameworking career, but I didn't know they existed until I saw somebody else using a pair, so I had to run out and get some real quick. And when you have, what I'm doing here is just making sure that the cane is nice and secure on the bead before I continue. I'm just warming everything up and getting it to soften just a little bit. You want to keep everything raised up. Okay, back to the tweezers. Here they are. I have a pair of tungsten pick tweezers. They're not that expensive. I got them from France Art Glass and they are great for this, but any pair will work. So the first thing you're going to do is heat up 2 bits of cane, and you kind of go back and forth a little bit so each side is the same heat. And then you come down and you just very gently give it a second for the heat to soak in, and then start your pinch. If for some reason the whole pinch doesn't make it all the way, then just grab a little bit more heat and continue. Either way, you're going to do about 4 pinches all the way down with 2 pieces of cane. And then we will go ahead and heat everything up. You know, when you spend a lot of time working on one section, you always want to make sure that you heat everything up and get everything nice and just warm before you continue with the next 2 bits of cane. So here we are, heating, and gently tweezing. It just is such a great feeling to be able to tweeze this glass. I just love the way it feels underneath the tweezers. Starting at the top again, and pinching all the way down. And you start to get this really great kind of pinched circle pattern. You can leave it just like this if you want in the end, or you can take it a little bit further. Again, in between every full line of pinching, I will heat up the bead and then focus on the next bit. Heating, and pinching. And yes, in the end of this video, I just want to let you know that I have actually taken some pictures of some other beads as well, so you can see the different types of cane that I've been using. But so far, here is what we have. I love the way this looks, but let's take it a little bit further and start to make our lattice work. So you're going to just go ahead and grab the 2 bits of cane in those other, sections here and start tweezing them together. The one thing I like about having the cane, the raised cane, is that when you heat them up and you go to take your pinch, it will only move the cane. It won't really move anything underneath. So you're just moving the surface of the bead. You're not trying to get the heat really deep into the bead, just on the cane. I find this to be such a fascinating and a playful way to work the glass. Getting closer to the end here, pinching away with our Pizzico pattern. And then as always, a really nice heat in between each row of pinching. All right, we are almost to the end here. We got one more row to pinch together. It's so great when you find a technique like this that is achievable for pretty much everybody. You don't have to do the whole bead. You can do parts of a bead or one half of a bead in this fashion, but I just love the way this turned out. What a great and fun way to decorate your glass. So I'm just finishing up by making sure that all the cane is secure to the bead and giving it a nice heat. And we're done with our Pizzico or Pizzico bead. I hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as I do, and go pinch some glass. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you next time.